please be seated.
Judge, this is BDC 2009-201, the State versus Sebastian Walter Olivares-Coster. He is present in court with his attorneys, Mr. Moe and Jennifer Striano, for the purposes of an initial appearance. Pleadings indicate that he's 17 years old. We're proceeding with this matter under 41-5206. So after we have the initial appearance, Judge, we need to set a date sometime within the next 30 days for a transfer hearing. Consideration as to whether to stay in district court or go to youth court.
Mr. Coster, I need to tell you a few things. First off, you don't need to say anything, whether you're in court, out of court, in jail, out of jail. Anything you say could be used against you in this case. You are entitled to have an attorney. You can hire your own attorney, but in failing that, we've appointed the public defenders to represent you. Ms. Striano and Mr. Moe will represent you at no expense to yourself. I need to tell you what you're charged with. You're charged in count 1 with deliberate homicide. That carries a possible life imprisonment. It also carries a minimum term of 10 years in the state prison or up to 100 years. And counts 2 and 3, you're charged with attempted deliberate homicide. Each of those carries an additional life sentence and an additional minimum sentence of 10 years in the state prison or up to 100 years. Since you're charged with 3 things, these sentences could all run one after the other. So if you should either plead guilty or found guilty, you could go to prison for a minimum of 30 years or up to 300 years or for 3 consecutive life sentences. And bond is currently set at $500,000. Mr. Moe, you want to address that?
I do, Your Honor. Mr. Coster's parents are in the courtroom. He has been a resident of Helena since he was 3. They did move to another location and came back, but he has been basically a lifelong Helena resident. His parents are living here, his sister's living here, so he does have strong ties to the community. I don't think he's a flight risk. He does have a part-time job at the real food store, making, I assume, close to the minimum wage. So I think the $500,000, even with the severity of the charges, is a little bit unreasonable. We'd ask the court to consider reducing it down to $100,000 to give him the opportunity to post bond.
I wasn't anticipating a bond motion. I'm trying to let the court know that what we have here, that the affidavit sets forth one of the most brutal homicides scenarios that is imaginable. We have one dead person, and we have another one who is headshot at the St. Peter's Hospital. We have a third who is shot multiple times. The youth has been cooperative, and I will just tell the court that the state has an extremely strong case at this time, and that so if that is to be believed, then what we have here is somebody who in a cold-blooded fashion went out and did kill one person, tried to kill 2 others, and we have a very seriously injured person in the hospital. We have no good information about his background or why he did it, and so I think $500,000, Judge, I'm just trying to be delicate here, but I think $500,000 is certainly warranted. He has a presumption of innocence, but I hesitate to go into all the details because I don't want to jeopardize his right to a fair trial, Judge.
In response, he is 17 years old. We're not prepared to go to trial at this point, so I won't address anything that Mr. Gallagher has just said. I would just ask the court to set a reasonable bond for a person making minimum wage.
Considering the nature of these charges, I'll leave the bond at $500,000. I'll grant you, though, liberty throughout the proceeding as things get developed more. You can readdress. We'll readdress the bond if need be. And in the meantime, you want him detained at the U.S. detention facility?
Judge, when we filed the information this morning, we asked the court to sign the detention order, which has been signed. I think the detention order calls for his detention, and if it hasn't been served, we will serve that upon him and make return to the court. The plan is that we will take him to Great Falls for detention there, and there's a detention cell facility there for juveniles, and that's where we will be detained, if that's agreeable to the court.
All right. Ms. Moak?
That's where they send juveniles, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Then order is continued detention at the detention facility in Great Falls, pending further order. Very good. Anything else?
No, this time, Daddy.
Okay, very